Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video about the Square Golf launch monitors in general, whether it's the Omni or the Home Edition. Um, I've come across quite a few guys on the Discord, on GS Pro, um, you know, that have basically come across a lot of false information when it comes to things like the balls to use, cases, the mats they're using and stuff that have affected their results with their launch monitor. They blame the launch monitor for being crap or, having misreads when really it's just knowing what to use with the launch monitor. So in terms of the TP5 pixel that they recommend to use with the launch monitor, the only thing that actually picks up this side spin and spin for the launch monitor is the black triangle on the pixels. The orange, nothing to do with it. So when you suddenly start using something like this that has full black hexagons on it, it will pick it up for spin. But what will happen is you'll maybe one or two shots, yeah, all good, and then suddenly you've got, 100 side spin and you've got a big massive slice when actually you hit it straight. It'll give you misreads and suddenly you're trying to figure out what's going on. When you use like a plain ball with the Square Golf launch monitor, it will just I think algorithm allows it to do a rough amount spin to whatever's selected on the launch monitor. As in, if you're hitting an 8-iron, it'll do 6,000 spin. If you're hitting a driver, it'll do like 2,500 spin. But it will decrease the carry distance because it's just trying to work it out, and it's not that accurate. So, when you're choosing your balls, just make sure you stick to what they say, and then if the shot's bad, it's you. It's not the launch runner. So the second thing I want to come to is basically cases for the launch monitor. I've got this sort of cheap homemade plastic case that you can buy on the internet, which some of them work in terms of protecting the launch monitor, but I actually found with this, and it took me quite a while to figure out, that with putting on GS Pro, where this sits away from the launch monitor's cameras, it actually reflects a double shot to it or does something weird with it. So you'll be hitting straight down your putting line and suddenly it'll be 4 degrees offline, and it wasn't consistent. It was sometimes read, wouldn't read. So I'm guessing if you need to use a case, I'm using the metal tank from Square. I haven't noticed an issue with it yet, but typically if you're pretty good, avoid using a case altogether, and then you haven't got that issue to deal with. So when using the launch monitor for putting, either on GS Pro or the actual home app, depending on what mat you're using, for example, here I've got a T-turf, which is quite coarse, and it's almost the equivalent of putting out of like the fringe on your golf course. I found that the rougher the surface, obviously the camera will pick up the ball, and it almost as you putt, the ball will jump up, and then you'll get misreads in terms of pushing and pulling the ball, the putt, sorry, when typically you're actually hitting it pretty straight. So whether you can use a mat that's less coarse, more like carpet, or whether you can use something like a separate area for putting, that you can use something like wood that's covered in felt, something real smooth to get the best result in terms of putting. Another one I've come across is people raising their launch monitors up past their mats. Typically, I would say that the launch monitor is best level with your mat, or a centimetre above at most. But as soon as you start raising it up 2 inches, 3 inches, I mean, I've seen people raise it up 4 inches above the mat. Um, it might pick up the ball, but it won't pick up your club stickers. You know, on the Home Edition, you've got these shaft stickers. On the Omni, you have, you know, shaft and face stickers. Um, it's not going to read correctly. If it does, it's not going to be consistent. So, um, wouldn't recommend. Don't know any benefit to it. I haven't seen any difference between raising up and lowering it other than misreads in terms of club data. So when it comes to the line in the launch monitor, I've seen that people will lay the alignment stick down and just move this around instead of the actual launch monitor. Obviously, not saying everyone sees it like that, but the this is just a dumb reflective stick. You typically will have your alignment in terms of pin location on the screen. Maybe if you have a putt line projected on the floor here, you know, you're going to lay that at the bare minimum. You want to measure from, you know, each end of the stick to your wall, each end to the stick to the pin location. Then once you've done that, you lay the stick on the straight line that you've measured or your putting line. And when you're using target alignment on the software, you adjust the launch monitor until it says 0, 0, not the stick. And yeah, I don't think I'll be saying that one, but yeah. And likewise with your launch monitor, if you can, have a spirit level on it and just make sure it's perfectly level, then you won't run into any issues. So guys, thanks for watching, and if it's any help to you, leave a like, subscribe, let me know if you want any more videos like this. Cheers.